Hello, Beth. How are you?
Doing very well, Kat. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for asking. So, today we are here to talk about the Rhode Island chapter of the ALS Association and all of the great things that you have done with them. So, to start us off, I would like to ask you, how did you get involved with the Rhode Island chapter of the ALS Association?
So, I have been working in the nonprofit sector in Rhode Island for more years than I want to admit. But in 2016, I decided to go back to school for my master's in public administration degree because I knew I wanted to stay in the nonprofit sector, but I wanted to get into a position of making the biggest difference I possibly could. Um, so I graduated in 2009 with my MPA, and the opportunity arose to apply for the executive director position. And to my delight, they offered me the position, and I started in February of 2020.
And so, could you please explain what you do in your position?
Sure. So, as executive director, my role is really to oversee all facets of what the chapter does, working with the staff and the care services team to make sure that we're providing the best possible care service programs that we can, managing our budget and the financial planning of the chapter. And that includes, fund development, event planning, donor stewardship, also working on awareness and advocacy, the governance portion of the job, and working with the National Association as well. I participate in quite a few committees with the National Association, in strategic planning for the association, and also policy initiatives and keeping up to date with current research. So I wear many hats.
And so, what is the mission of the Rhode Island chapter of the ALS Association?
Sure. So our mission is to discover treatments and a cure for ALS and to serve, advocate for, and empower people with ALS to live their lives to the fullest. That's our mission statement.
And so, how are you able to fulfill your mission?
So our local chapter focuses mainly on care service programs. So we have an array of those that we provide to patients and their families free of charge, which include, medical transportation, multidisciplinary medical care at the Louise Wilcox Clinic. We also provide respite care, support groups, educational symposiums. So we do our best to provide patients with the support that they need to alleviate the emotional and financial burden that comes with the diagnosis. We also participate in advocacy initiatives, and the funds that we raise at the local level also supports research being done in the search to find a cure.
And based on your experience, is ALS a disease that is well known and that frequently receives the support that it needs?
So I like to say, ALS is a disease that's well known, but not known well. So it's a huge push of ours to spread awareness in the community about ALS, what the disease is, how it affects patients, but also how it affects their families, and just how many people it impacts in our community. I don't think people are aware of just how many of their friends and neighbors have been personally touched or are battling the disease itself right now. So that awareness is so important, and it definitely needs to grow.
And so you mentioned that awareness and advocacy are extremely important in the fight to help find a cure and help find support for those living with ALS. So how important would you say donations of any amount to the Rhode Island chapter of the ALS Association are?
So I can't express enough how important donations are, and no matter the size. I think there's so many points to that. One, I think for the ALS community here in Rhode Island, seeing their neighbors step up and make a donation of any amount and showing that they are there for them in the fight against ALS is so very important. But also, it costs a family upwards of $250,000 to care for a loved one with ALS. And donations that we receive from our supporters help to alleviate that burden through the programs that we provide, like medical transportation and our respite care that gives our patients and families the ability to find the support that they need, without hopefully digging themselves into further debt. It's so important that people step up and make that donation. It's crucial to the services that we are able to provide.
So, in your opinion, what is the best way that a person could get involved to help advocate, spread awareness, and supports the Rhode Island chapter of the ALS Association?
So there's multiple ways to get involved. If folks go to our website, they can sign up to become an advocate, and they will automatically receive updates on public policy priorities. They can access like templates to write to their local and state delegation to support ALS patients. They can sign up as volunteers to participate in our events. They can help spread the word, which is great. You know, our social media channels, we are constantly providing information to the community about the patients that we serve and the programs that we have, and having folks spread those messages is really important. And then signing up to be a part of our events. You know, we have our Evening of Hope coming up in May. We have our Walk to Defeat ALS every September. We have another event that we are piloting this summer that we will be promoting on our website. And signing up and spreading the word and creating teams and having that team, that community Rhode Island feel, and having everybody step up is it's huge. And there's so many ways to get involved, and we're always welcome people's participation.
And so I have one final question I would like to ask you.
Sure.
And so that is, what is one thing that you would like others to know about ALS and the Rhode Island chapter of the ALS Association?
So, you know, I've been with the chapter for a year now, and I am constantly overwhelmed and inspired by the patients and the families that we serve. They are facing this absolutely devastating diagnosis with such bravery and energy, and you know, they have so much humor, and they just want to get involved. And I think every day that if they can stand up and they can fight and they can get so involved while they're facing this, then so can I, and so can everybody else in the community. We all can play a part in hopefully, you know, making ALS a livable disease. And I think that if we all just stepped up a little bit, we could do whatever it takes. They're so deserving, and they're so worthy of all of our support. They're some of the most incredible people I've ever met. It's truly a privilege to have this position and to work with them, and the community of supporters around them they're incredible.
That does sound incredible, actually. So, thank you for all of the great work that you have done and continue to do for the ALS community, specifically in Rhode Island, and for being able to come here and share with me today. Thank you very much.
Sure, absolutely.